Deep in the dense forest, Greg Ovens adjusts a wooden trigger mechanism. This intricate device secures his next meal, reflecting his mastery of bushcraft from catching massive trout to foraging and freezing snow. His survival skills are forged in the Rocky Mountains. The crackling fire and roasted meats signify a hard-earned victory against the harsh elements. Standing in the snowy woods, Greg Ovens outlines a radical concept: an automated fishing machine. This device aims to haul catches directly onto the ice, even dropping prey straight into a frying pan. After drilling through the thick ice, he transports heavy logs to construct a sturdy framework. The foundation of this complex trap is now firmly laid upon the frozen lake. Testing the mechanism away from the lake, the trigger releases with explosive force, sending the caught fish flying wildly into the distant bushes. This unexpected trajectory proves that the raw power of the gravity drop is not a precise landing, but a chaotic launch. Retrieving the displaced catch, he discovers a pine cone lodged in its mouth, highlighting the absurd reality of the current design. To solve this, a guiding ramp must be constructed to decelerate the log and direct the fish accurately. Recalibrating the physical parameters, he saws off several inches from the bottom to reduce the steepness of the ramp. Two newly installed thin sticks form a narrow channel, guiding the sliding log and the attached fish directly into the target zone. Observing the smooth descent of the wooden weight, he confirms the trajectory is finally under control. Measuring the exact distance ensures the fish will land precisely where intended, turning a wild guess into a calculated engineering solution. A massive wooden contraption dominates the white ice triggered. The log rolls down, hauling the catch up the ramp, yet the fish snags on the frame instead of landing in the pan. This failure exposes a flaw in the release angle. Kneeling on the ice, he analyzes the obstruction, determined to tweak the mechanism and force the prey into the cooking vessel. The survivalist diagnoses the root cause. Shortened side pillars rendered the drop too gentle to clear the final obstacle. By raising the vertical posts, he injects aggressive momentum into the system, ensuring the log slides all the way to the bottom. A fort stick is placed at the pan's edge to block the fishing line while allowing the log to pass. With baits secured and trigger set, the ultimate test of this refined design begins.
Set it. Hey.
Didn't go in the pan. Unbelievable. Unreal. Shifting from the frozen lake to the driftwood-strewn coastline, Greg Ovens embarks on a massive woodworking project, constructing a complex crab trap from raw natural materials. The main frame is assembled from neatly cut wooden blocks, forming the sturdy skeleton of a box-like structure. Wire reinforcements are tightly wrapped around the corners to withstand the crushing force of the ocean. The design features a pair of one-way doors on both sides, which will eventually be enclosed by a dense cage of thin wooden slats. Demonstrating the brilliance of the one-way entrance, the wooden sticks are precisely wedged into the grooves, creating a flap that swings inward but is physically impossible to push open from the inside. With the wire binding the entire structure together, the trap achieves a remarkable level of durability against the harsh marine environment. To lure the elusive crustaceans, a potent double bait is prepared, a fish pierced by wire in several pieces of pungent bacon, ensuring the scent will draw them directly into the fatal enclosure. Verifying mechanical integrity before deployment, both side doors are pulled to ensure smooth underwater operation. While bait is anchored to a central stone, carrying the heavy trap to the pier's edge, he takes a deep breath and casts it into the deep. The wooden cage sinks into dark water, disappearing beneath the surface. Standing in drizzling rain and thick fog, tense anticipation builds as he walks toward the tether line to check the results. The trap emerges. A massive purple stone crab clings to the cage exterior, bypassing the entry mechanism entirely. Recognizing this flaw, Greg releases the creature and resets the device. The next haul reveals success. A huge, pale yellow crab is finally secured within the wooden bars. Shifting focus to the forest, he now aims to replicate the classic gopher snare from his earlier 30-day challenge, locating a hidden gopher den in the grassy meadow. understanding that these rodents return to their underground burrows before dark. He chooses this twilight window for the ambush. A sharp wooden stake is driven deep into the soil to serve as the unyielding anchor for the trap. The steel wire is meticulously trimmed and shaped into a perfect loop half buried in the loose dirt to remain invisible to the unsuspecting prey. Finally, a camouflage trail camera is secured on a nearby post, ready to record the unseen struggle in the dark. The trap triggered overnight. A bald eagle watches silently from a distant dead tree as trail cam footage reveals a cautious gopher approaching the wire loop. Sensing an unnatural disturbance, the rodent freezes and slowly backs into its burrow, narrowly escaping the snare. To counter this extreme wariness, Greg inserts an aster flower stem directly behind the loop. This clever placement forces the hungry gopher to push its head completely through the wire to reach the bait. I said, almost go through. I'm hoping this time he'll come the right way, and hopefully he'll reach through to get the asterisk. Okay, we caught a govern in our snare. He's not dead, so I'm gonna try to let him go. A young gopher is finally caught in the snare. Recognizing that it is merely a baby and not a necessary meal for survival, the decision is made to spare its life, covering the struggling animal with an old cloth to calm its panic. He carefully approaches with a pair of wire cutters. A precise SNP severs the tight steel loop and the freed rodent instantly scurries back into its burrow. Holding the cut wire, he declares the trap mechanism a complete and undeniable success. Transitioning to the snowy winter landscape, the survivalist repurposes his wooden crab trap, aiming to catch rabbits in the deep snow, realizing that the swinging door design is completely ineffective for this new prey. He decides to engineer a sliding door mechanism paired with a complex trigger system, splitting wooden boards. He constructs a smooth track for the sliding gate and scatters dry straw inside to lure the rabbits deeper. A paracord is attached to the door designed to be pulled taut by a tripwire when the animal steps on the trigger. Engineering the core trigger mechanism, a V-shaped wooden block is crafted to act as a seesaw, flipping off its perch the moment a rabbit steps on the internal board. To prevent the paracord from tangling and jamming the door, a simple wooden stick replaces the complex rope setup. The internal geometry is carefully calculated so that the rabbit's upward path applies the exact amount of tension needed. Lifting the heavy door, he hooks the stick with the cord, demonstrating how a mere fraction of an ounce of pull will instantly collapse the entire structure. Testing the tension with a final pull, the paracord snaps taut, and the heavy sliding door crashes down perfectly, sealing the trap in a fraction of a second. Green leaves and dry hay are tossed deep inside to coax the cautious rabbits into the fatal zone. By early morning, the trap has indeed been triggered, but the trail camera reveals a frustrating truth. The rabbits entered, ate the bait, and simply walked back out to prevent this escape. A secondary locking mechanism must be added to the door. Going in, no food. So I'll take something like this. And then hopefully the door will come up and over this little branch and hook here. And then they won't be able to. This is where the rabbits both got out just in between here. So I'll have to put one here. And then I think I'll go all the way around the edge with another one about this height. So they'd have to jump up and...
Hey!
We got the black guy. Not both of them like yesterday, but I only need one for this catch and cook. Moving on to the Thoughtom and next engine. Challenge. A slender pine tree is filled with a red bow saw, providing the raw timber for a brand new torsion. Powered fishing trap. Two main wooden stakes are driven deep into the wet soil using a heavy log as a hammer, forming the rigid base of the structure. A horizontal brace is then installed to connect the uprights, creating a sturdy frame. Finally, a double length of paracord is pulled out, and a loop is tied at the end, preparing to be wrapped around the frame to generate the explosive twisting force needed for the mechanism, harnessing the raw power of twisted rope. The trigger stick is rotated repeatedly. This action wins the paracord tighter and tighter, storing immense kinetic energy within the fibers. Finding the original stick too long and unresponsive for his needs, He slices off a portion to ensure a crisp, immediate release upon activation by carefully adjusting the angle of the linkage rod. The sensitivity is dialed up to a hair trigger level. Here, the slightest touch will unleash the stored torque, with devastating speed carrying the assembled device to the muddy lakeshore. He uses stones to hammer the wooden stakes firmly into the ground, securing the trap against the rocky terrain near the water. Fine-tuning the trigger's delicate balance, a Y-shaped stick is positioned to block the linkage, while a heavy rock stabilizes the base against accidental shifting. Before any fishing line is even attached, the mechanism accidentally fires, proving the extreme sensitivity of this hair trigger setup. Resetting the trap, the linkage rod is precisely wedged into the edge of the stress groove, holding immense tension in perfect equilibrium. The trap fires once more with the fishing line plunging deep into the lake, indicating a solid catches on the other end. Pulling the line upward, a massive shadow is spotted, thrashing beneath the surface. A huge spotted trout is finally hauled out of the water, its gills severely damaged by the trap's relentless force. Holding the heavy catch, a broad smile breaks across his face in the pouring rain. Thumbs up and a satisfied glance confirm that the automated fishing machine has conquered the wilderness, bringing the project to a triumphant close.